fun, magical, and incredible experience with a bunch of people very committed to acceleration in their money, time, and magic in their lives. And Shiobhan, your leadership, your connect and add value to one another's world. So thank you, Shiobhan.
Thank you, Sean. We appreciate that. So let me know when you want to get started and I can start the introduction.
Yeah, let's start it. Let's keep some time flow going with everybody, and please fire away.
All right. Well, welcome everybody to the Real Raw, a place where we get to see and experience how influence is a superpower in our lives. The Real Raw offers us the chance to have a microphone and a stage, form ecosystem mergers together, and make more money in less time with more magic, and all with the use of the formula that Sean Callaghy, who you were just hearing from, has curated for the past 23 years. And I believe Sean will tell you all about himself in just a few minutes. And so let's get started on the introductions. If everybody could do about 30 seconds and tell us who you are, where you're from, what you're doing in the world, and a fun fact. So for instance, I am Shiobhan Olivero, and I am an attorney in Tampa, Florida, where I do high-level criminal defense and family law. I am also a certified divorce coach and also getting certified in Jack Canfield Success Principles to also take that into life and success coaching so people can have amazing lives. And a fun fact that not everybody knows about me is that I auditioned for American Idol twice and did not make the show, obviously. All right. And so I'm just going to go across my screen and we'll start with Nancy.
Hey, I am Nancy Hand from Memphis, Tennessee. I am a retired intellectual property and contract attorney. I love contracts and I read them too. I have spent the last, since 2006, coaching and training people in interpersonal communication skills and networking. And I have lately turned my attention to the fine art of friendship because I really think it's foundational. And fun fact about me, I can cook 8 gallons of gumbo. I have an 8-gallon pot and I have, and I make a very good one. I'm from South Louisiana, so it comes naturally to me.
But can you eat 8 gallons of gumbo? That's the important question.
We have a system of cooling it down and putting it up in a freezer, a really good big freezer.
That's awesome. Amazing. And Shiobhan, by the way, if I could say, Nancy, I think I heard you say you love contracts. I haven't heard many people say you love contracts. Why do you love contracts? That's amazing.
Because actually, my dad was a litigator, personal injury, maritime attorney, plaintiff's attorney, and I grew up with contentiousness and disagreement and in that whole wide world, going to court and that kind of thing. When I went to law school, I was going to practice with him, but then I fell in love with contracts and I realized that in mediation, dispute resolution, that Dad was all about the fight. I was all about the agreement. And I enjoy it.
Awesome. That is beautiful, Nancy. Well, welcome and thank you so much. Shiobhan.
Yes, next is George Weitengruber. Did I say that right, George? I apologize.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Hey guys, so I'm George Weitengruber and I am a real estate and bankruptcy attorney coming to you from Wall, New Jersey, about 5 minutes from the beach. So you can smell that ocean air right now, Chris, just reminding you right there. And the fun fact about me is that in 2000, I was so inspired by the McDonald's and Burger King obesity lawsuits that I started formulating how to make breakfast ice cream. So someday I could be a class action defendant in that, after convincing the world that eating ice cream for breakfast would be a healthy endeavor. You'd think that was the end of the joke, but 3 years later, we had come up with about 20 different flavors and really could have had a way to trick the world into it. Unfortunately, I became a lawyer, so you're not fat eating breakfast ice cream because I went into law.
Or not fat because we're eating breakfast ice cream.
We're on our way. I'll bring it back.
That's amazing.
And Shiobhan, we're not even going to go near what George's first word in his baby book was, but maybe we'll come back to that later. So George, welcome, and Shiobhan.
I have heard that story. George and I have talked, and we can share the moniker of the cursing attorney. So, all right, next is Julie.
I'm Julie Shopa, financial healer at Clarity Finances, where we help business owners have a better relationship with their profits. I'm a QuickBooks expert, a profit first professional. And I'm from Tampa, Florida. So I met Shiobhan down in Tampa. Talking about profit first, that's where I originally met you. The fun fact would be that I was a soccer mom, and I'm the mother of a Real Madrid fanatic. Game on at 3 today.
Whoa. Woo.
That is outstanding. Outstanding. How does one become a Real Madrid fan in the first place? Like, what was source for you and your Real Madrid fan?
It's my son is like the raving fan. I'm just a fan because I'm his mother. But he, I think when he was like 6 or 7 years old, when he started to play, that has been his favorite team. He's researched them. They're the Kings team. I mean, he can tell you everything. He knows who owns them, how much money they make, like all kinds of stuff. He knows that about pretty much all of the teams in Europe. He has a podcast and a blog called 2 Foot Talk.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
that is awesome.
Wow.
Awesome. Well, welcome and congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, that's amazing. Yes, next is Lisa.
Hi there, I am Lisa Goldberg. I am a clinical nutritionist who focuses on helping people overcome emotional eating and yo-yo dieting so they could finally lose weight and not gain that weight back, because that's the part that people have the most trouble with, is keeping the weight off. And a lot of it starts from changing the way they think about why they're doing what they're doing. I've been doing this for about 20 years. And a fun fact about me is, after 34 years of living in New York City, I am taking the plunge and I am moving to Florida.
Yeah, and hear that, Chris? Somebody's moving to Florida, not away from it. Sorry.
Listen.
like George, I'm not going to be too far from the beach. I've got about a 15-minute walk from the beach, so I am super excited about that.
Awesome.
Well, that is awesome. And what part of Florida are you heading to?
I'm moving to Boca. And so it's kind of like, I feel like I have like friends and family, like my mom's down there. So it's kind of like centrally located between, my friends and family between Boynton and West Palm, and, right in that general area. So it kind of, the timing was right.
Awesome. Well, welcome. And Shiobhan, we have people moving out of New York to Florida. There's like COVID craziness going on. And who is next?
Next is Gina.
All right. Thank you, Shiobhan. And hello, Sean and everyone. So grateful to be here. I appreciate it. I am Gina Ritchie. I am from Rumson, New Jersey, George. So not far from you, about a mile from the ocean as well. Love it. I am a love and empowerment coach, currently working to elevate love consciousness in the world. I stand for love for humanity, and I aspire to inspire people to know that the love in their heart is a superpower, and they can, when they look at the self-love that they have and start to love themselves more, I should say, and use that love as a superpower in the world, that it will make an impact on humanity and in everything they do for a life filled with success and happiness. So I'm excited to be here, Shiobhan. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for coming, Gina.
And Gina, how about a fun fact?
Oh, I forgot my fun fact. Oh gosh. Okay. I'm trying to think of a different one. Let's see. So about a year ago, I jumped off the stratosphere in Las Vegas, which was super fun. And I'm totally want to jump out of a plane. So I am adventurous, I think. And that's my fun fact right now.
Awesome. I've jumped out of a plane twice. So it's awesome. It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm ready for that. I'm ready. Wow. Thank you.
All right, next is Robert.
Hello, everybody. My name is Robert Swan. I'm a program manager in the defense industry, where I help our users solve their most difficult problems. And I'm also the author of a book recently published called Alpha Couples Build a Powerful Marriage Like a Boss. Interesting fact about me is I was a finalist to be an astronaut a few years ago. So I went to Houston and made it to one of the final rounds of interviews. I did not become an astronaut, but through the process, I learned that I do not want to be an astronaut.
How long would it take to, like, What do astronauts, where do they fly or go to these days? I mean, like what's a typical astronaut sort of experience? I'm like way out of the, like the line of astronautness.
So typically training takes quite a few years. The basic training takes anywhere, usually about 2 years. And then they could be waiting for a flight to space for anywhere from 2 up to 10 or more years. If they do go to space these days, it's mostly to the International Space Station, where a big part of their work is just maintaining it because it's like 30 years old and it's falling apart. So they're always replacing toilets and stuff like that. But they also work a lot with companies like SpaceX, who are developing new rocket systems, new shuttles to take people to space. So they're also developing new systems as well, and they do lots of the testing on that stuff.
Very cool. Well, welcome. We are happy that you're on Earth and with us today.
Amazing, Robert. And next is Kristen.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kristen David. I am the CEO and founder of Upleveling Your Business, where we empower business owners to build those thriving, profitable businesses built on the systems that run the business. The people just run the systems. So by way of history, my accomplishments, I built up a 7-figure law firm business, systematized it so it ran without me, and then sold it. And now I am building another 7-figure business. In the first year, we went from 0 to $100,000 months. And I live a third of my year in Seattle, Washington, which is where I am now with the smoke, a third of the year in Paris, and a third traveling, although less traveling this year with COVID. And my fun fact is I went to winemaking school in Bordeaux, France when I was 15, but despite all that fun, I became a lawyer. So there you go.
Kristen, congratulations. Super intentional life. What brought you into the space of understanding the leverage of business development, scaling? Like what made that present for you, Kristen?
I was a rock star medical malpractice defense attorney and legal malpractice defense attorney, and I became a partner and immediately realized, like, how do you juggle all this stuff? And there has to be a better way. And my personality type is to create procedures and checklists and systems, and learned how to write my first business plan, went from 350 to 700,000, rewrote my business plan, went from 700 to 1.4 in the next 9 months, and systematized everything along the way, and learned that you can empower your team and they will be happier when they know with clarity what to expect from them. And when I was on vacation, they could hire a paralegal without me and I'd come back with a new employee there. And so I've taken that and worked just exclusively with lawyers for a number of years, and now work with all types of business owners. So it's a lot of fun.
Wait, you mean the law is a business and you have to generate clients and scale your firm? And really? I didn't read that on the law school brochure. No, awesome.
Exactly.
Right. Awesome.
Honestly, I wish Business 101, I wrote a book this last year, and I hope it's the A to Z how to run a business profitably. And I hope it's in every professional school, like dentists, doctors, chiropractors, lawyers, like they all need to understand you run a business like a business. And unfortunately, technical school teaches great on the technical, but less on the business. So
amen, my friend. Awesome job, Kristen. Siobhan.
Yes. Thank you, Kristen. Chris.
Oh, me? I get to, okay, that's good. Nobody make fun of me that I'm in Columbus and not in Ohio.
You know that I'm going
not in Florida anymore. I know. There's like 4 people on this call now that are going to make fun of me for that. But I'm Chris Real. I am the founding attorney of the Real Law Firm. We are a business, intellectual property, and estate planning and asset protection firm. I'm licensed in Florida and Ohio. So that's, how I know Shiobhan actually is. She was my first boss. I said it earlier. And apparently she still likes me. And I'm in Ohio, so I don't smell the ocean air. I actually smell the beautiful fall foliage, everybody. It's amazing. It's super windy here right now too. So that's awesome. That's why I'm wearing a vest and a hoodie. So yeah, it's great weather in the Midwest right now. A fun fact about me, I'm from Canada, came down here and had zero intention of actually going to law school until my now wife, girlfriend at the time, she and I had our firstborn son while we were in college. And I, being on a student visa, Had to figure out pretty quickly how I was going to be able to stay in the country for as long as humanly possible. Law school was a 3-year program, so I decided, hey, we're going to go to law school. Ended up loving the law. And, you know, I have an entrepreneurship background just by way of my father, who's run businesses in Canada. Knew I wanted to start a firm. So I kind of combined the two to make this force of the real law firm. So there you go. And nobody made fun of me. This is great.
Well, I was going to, Chris, because, you know, it's great weather right now in Tampa, that it's like 85. So.
That's why I switched my angle of my computer so you can't see out the window.
Awesome, Chris. Welcome, brother.
Thank you.
All right, Harish, you're up.
Thanks, Shiobhan. Hi, everyone. I've got my phone line also online because for some reason the mic wasn't working, so I've taken a phone call. I hope you can hear me clear on this.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, awesome. Good. So my background quickly is maybe three phases to my life. My first few years, I worked with my dad back in India. We had a leather manufacturing company, and I had learned the art of making leather bags and pouches. So by the way, I used to make coach bags in my factory, among other things. Moved into sales, did that for about 15 years. Loved the work, but I realized two things. Companies rely heavily on talent, number one, and it's very hard for them to find the talent. And two is the connection or the communication between peers in a company was a big challenge. So 8 years ago, I quit my job with a large technology company and started an executive search firm, which is what my wife and I currently do, which is support the talent needs for about the Fortune 500 companies and the digital transformation space in the US. I'm also on a cusp. So what we're also going to be doing is on the second piece, my wife and I are starting a company anytime this year, which is going to be focused on supporting employees understand relationships at work better to make them even more effective at their workplace. So it's going to be eventually a combination of talent management and helping existing talent optimize their own work performances.
Amazing. And do you have a fun fact for us?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. So for me, music is absolutely dear. No day goes by without my music. And unlike anyone who I know, I'm still a big collector of music, not the Spotify Tidal Corbus kind of guy. And I have over 3,000 CDs and over 1,000 vinyl records at home.
Wow.
Oh.
Wow. Awesome. Well, Harish, welcome to the Real Raw. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Kay.
Here we go. Hi, everyone. My name is Kay Van Way. I'm a board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and the founder of Van Way, Presby & Williams, which is a Dallas-based law firm with a national focus on medical malpractice, drugs, medical devices, and catastrophic injuries and wrongful death. Some of you may know me from the Dr. Death podcast. I was the lawyer that represented the majority of Dr. Dunch's victims. I was country before country was cool. I actually worked for a long time before the Dr. Death podcast. But late in my life, I have found my passion in addition to representing medical malpractice victims. I'm heavily focused on patient safety and leaving a legacy of eliminating the errors that are preventable in our medical system that are harming so many people. When I am not focusing on my professional passions, I'm not going to call it work anymore, my professional passions, at 5'0" approximately, and Kristen knows how short I am, at about 5'0" and 62 years old, when I'm not working, I am working on my little ranch in Texas called the Flying V Ranch. And I am a tractor driving, chainsaw wielding ranch hand.
Kay, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre in the house, Kay, protecting people and wielding a chainsaw. That is a beautiful paradigm at all of 5 feet. Thank you, Kay, so much.
There's several torts in that, probably.
Yeah.
Yes,
Me
several,
and chainsaw,
right?
but
that is a complex analysis of multifaceted issues, like with the chainsaw blowing up, torts one exam, and all kinds of things happening. So
exactly.
Excellent. And Shiobhan, what an incredible group of people.
Thanks. We have one more. Last but not least is Mike.
All right, guys. I'm Mike Waslick. I am a lawyer here in Florida with Ricardo and Waslick. We're just north of Tampa, and we help people overcome foreclosure and debt collection with dignity. And like a lot of the people in the group, I'm now in Florida, although I was born in Ohio. And in addition to being a Barcelona soccer fan, much to Julie's son's chagrin, my fun fact is that about 2 years ago, I became a licensed ham radio operator. And so every once in a while I get to get on the airwaves and talk with people all around the world. So that's me.
Well, Mike, awesome job, sir. Appreciate you being here. And the ham radio, what brought you to the ham radio?
It was a combination of things. Obviously being in Florida, north of Tampa, we live in a hurricane area. And just a kind of a convolution of different things brought me to the idea that radio was a worthwhile thing to know in the event that everything kind of went to hell. And it's been fun and educational. As a lawyer, I don't have an engineering background, but I've learned a lot about the physical sciences through studying for the tests and through learning the things I need to do in order to be successful as a radio operator. So it's been a fascinating hobby, and it's been fun, even though it kind of came out of a little bit of a different, emergency preparedness mindset. But it's been mostly fun and educational, and it's even one of my sons now has kind of gotten the bug a little bit. So we're having fun doing that.
Awesome job, brother. Well, welcome, Shiobhan. Is that all of our amazing guests?
That is all of our amazing guests, except for you, Mr. Callaghan. Would you like to introduce you?
Sure, thank you. But a quick question, if you don't mind, before that is, why are you doing this? Like, what is this thing, and why are you doing this with all these fine folks today, Shiobhan?
I am doing this, Sean, because I want to meet the amazing people in this world that are doing amazing things in the world. And I want to build connections with them and build mergers with them so that we can take our connected amazingness out and help people in every way that we can.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. So yes, my name is Shiobhan Callaghan. I am the co-founder of Unblinded. And here's my fun fact. I'll start in reverse. I got a couple. So, and forgive me if I drop a few in as we go today. So fun fact number one is I was on a pirate ship with Shiobhan just like a week and a half ago. That would be fun fact number one. Fun fact number two is that I'm a blind guy that taught a blind guy to surf in the past month, in addition to jumping out of an airplane and leading a group of 50 plus crazy people into the Atlantic Ocean in pre-hurricane conditions in the pitch black of night. And I was not the only blind person doing it, as bodies were flying everywhere. And it was an amazing and incredible experience. So yes. Here's the sort of short version. 23 years ago, after realizing that I was going blind and it having cost me my opportunity to play professional baseball, I graduated from Columbia University, where I was baseball captain in 1992 and a 4-year starter. I realized that what I thought was my dream job wasn't, as I was a whopping 3 months out of law school and $100,000 in debt. As I was mentioning to Kristen, it was not on the brochure that business development and scaling had something to do with our money, our time, and our magic in our professional career. So I had a choice. I thought I could either quit my job and go coach high school baseball and football and do what I loved. But I'd have a problem. I didn't have money, and it was $100,000 in debt. And I was going blind. Or I could try to make money, but I couldn't even see how to make money, because at the law firm, it was like cost of living increases for the next decade. And I was at one of the most highly paid law firms in the state, great job. And I had no money. So it's like, what am I going to do? So somebody gave me a book, Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. And I read another book and another book and another book and another book. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to quit my job and start my own law firm 6 months out of law school and see if all this stuff works. And I did, and it did. And I built a 40-person law firm 2 years out of law school. I sold that first firm. I built a training and development company in 2003 to 2006, which was the most successful training and coaching company out of my coaching school. I went on to create a second law firm, which I currently own today, Callaghan Law. We have 125 people and offices in 5 states and expanding. And I have the unique privilege of being a business owner, as Kristen was referencing, and not operator. I've also had the privilege of having 2 top 100 national jury verdicts one of only 2 people in the country to do that between 2014 and 16, the only person who was blind. And I've spoken on stage at Tony Robbins events in 7 out of the last 8. And the whole purpose of that story is that it had nothing, well, had something to do with me, but very little. None of that would have happened without having a formula and understanding how we go from hello to yes with human beings, what we do with that hello to yes, and how we get ourselves to use it. And this platform is all about that. And thank you for being here, because you're on what is about the 225th Real Raw episode since COVID began. And thank you for Shiobhan for co-creating it. And yeah, like that's what we're here to do, is unlock the superpower of influence and maybe even dabble a little bit about what to do with it. So Shiobhan, with that said, who is going to go first today? And by the way, who are our judges?
So our judges are going to be Gina and Kay and George will be our judges. Our role player is going to be Chris. And
Awesome.
for round number 1, we will have Kristen and Mike as our contestants.
All right, awesome. So Kristen and Mike, this is, and everybody, this is how it works. So you're in the process of going from hello to yes, and you have 3 minutes. And the role player is Chris, you said, right, Shiobhan?
Yes, okay. Chris is our role player.
Yeah, awesome. So Chris is role player, and he'll be anybody that you want him to be. He could be an ideal client. He could be a strategic partner. But the key to understand is this is not Boiler Room or Wolf of Wall Street, not that any of you would be that. It's not about making a sale. It's about the superpower of heart-centered integrous influence and how that operates in an exponentially different way than head-to-head sales training and influential communication, right? And that's what we're here to unpack. So Chris will be anybody you want him to be. Book deal, movie deal, ideal client, himself. So Kristen, I'm going to put a 1 or a 2 under the table. What do you think? It's a 1 or a 2?
1.
It is a 2. So it's Kristen and Mike. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So Mike, would you like to go first or have Kristen go?
Mike, you're muted. Mike is going to go second.
Yeah, I'll go second. Thanks.
Awesome. So Kristen, who would
I knew you would punt to Kristen.
It's fun. So Kristen, who would you like Chris to be?
I think Chris can actually just be pretty much himself, a business owner. I mean, he owns a business. I mean, we can even stick with law and wanting to grow his business.
Awesome. All right. So you're going to have 3 minutes. And is this a cold call, a bump into it at a speaking engagement of yours, set up quick 3-minute evaluation call? What scenario?
Boy, it could be any of them. How about let's just make it a referral of, no, let's just do a bump in at a networking event.
Very cool. And at 1 minute to go, Kristen, you'll hear the alarm, 30 seconds to go, and then done in 3 minutes. But please take us in.
All right. Hi, Chris. I'm Kristen. What do you do?
Hi, Kristen. I'm an attorney. I run a law firm.
Awesome. What kind of law?
Business and intellectual property are my main practice areas, but I recently brought an attorney on to do estate planning and asset protection as well.
Awesome. Really helping your clients. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
What are your goals for the next year or two with the law firm? It sounds like you just brought someone on.
Yeah. No, scalability. Scaling is definitely on the horizon. I want to aggressively scale over the next 12 months.
That is definitely one of those things that everybody wants to do, but let me just kind of probe a little. What are some of the things you think you need to work on to get there? Like, what have you thought about for getting to that scalability?
Sure. And that's a great question. I definitely think implementing more systems. We have some very good systems in place right now, but I think that in order for us to really, truly aggressively scale, we'll need to implement more systems to just make the business operate more efficiently. So that way, I can go out and I can have conversations with clients. I don't have to worry about necessarily coming back in and then having to, do, I guess the full circle of services from yes to do the work to close. And so systems, I think, is a big thing for us. And yeah, I mean, increasing revenue, but again, I think that does come back down to systems.
Absolutely. So yes, I had no judgment zone. I've had to build many of my own systems, but I I know part of it is like we have all these thoughts in our head of like, oh, I want to do this and I want to write that. And how do you keep them organized? Or no judgment. I mean, I know I've got little bits of paper all over the place, little Evernotes of what I want to build. How do you get them organized?
Sure. I mean, oftentimes they pop into my head in the middle of the night. So I'll reach over, grab my phone and put it in the notes app on my phone. But I use a few different systems and software. So I use Monday.com is my, I guess, project management tool. I have, case management software as well, or client management software that kind of pushes things through as well, and obviously keeps track of deadlines. But Google Sheets has been great too in terms of putting ideas down on paper, and I like to share them. I integrate all of these ideas, or I involve the other attorney I brought in into these ideas as well to kind of get feedback. I always think two heads is better than one.
Yeah, getting your team involved early on building the systems with you, absolutely a game changer. I totally agree. You're right on. So let me ask, are you like more of a visual learner, or are you more of a like tactical get in? Do you like listening to stuff? How do you like kind of seeing it and building it? Yeah, no, I'm definitely a visual and doing or learn by doing type of person. I just don't think I have the attention span to listen forever. And I just feel like I need to step in to do something tangibly to really make progress on myself and my business.
10 seconds to go.
I'm sorry, what?
Last 10 seconds.
Oh, 10 seconds?
Yes.
Cool. Well, so listen, would it be helpful for you to have like a table of contents to see how other people have built out their systems in their law firm? So you can use that as kind of a base template for your infrastructure. Would that be helpful? Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Do you want me to send that over to you? That'd be awesome. My email's in the chat box. Cool.
All right. Excellent job. Kristen, how'd that feel for you?
Great. I kept trying to listen for an alarm or something. I never heard it, so I had no idea where I was with time. But other than that, yeah. I was actually engaging with him, so that's where I kind of got lost on time.
Yeah, my apologies. I thought, we'll turn the alarm sounder up. So
no worries.
Great job on that. And Chris, how'd that feel for you?
That was great. I thought that was awesome. We really connected.
All right, super. So Gina, you want to drop in for a quick 30 seconds of feedback for Kristen?
Sure thing. Hey, Kristen, I thought you did a great job. You asked wonderful questions. I thought you had a great energetic transference with Chris, and really congruent in what you were saying, and good job with emotional rapport. Honestly, I thought you were fantastic, and I gave you a 9.2.
Yeah. All right. And George, what do you have, sir?
Mute. There it is. Fuck. There it is. You're welcome, Sean. I put that one in right for you.
Thank you.
So Kristen, I thought you did a really good job. You were doing a great job of mirroring with Chris, showing a lot of attention and affirmative feedback from what he was stating and pulling it into your next question. The only part, and I was going from the scenario that you just kind of bumped into him at a networking event, so it feels like that's how it would have gone, but there wasn't a lot of personal sharing about yourself, a lot of probing, but there was a little bit of a vested miss by not getting a little bit of about me in that conversation. So I'm a harder grader, and I gave you an 8.7.
All right, thank you, George. So, we're going to go to our third judge next round. The third judge again is Kay. Is that right, Shiobhan, or no?
Yes, Kay.
Yeah, so we'll pick up a Kay next round. Chris, excellent job. To Mike. So Mike, who would you like Chris to be?
Well, so the most common scenario that I deal with right now is someone who's calling me because they have a foreclosure or a debt collection problem. Either they're being sued or they're being threatened with letters or something like that. So, Chris, if you have a preference to any of those three, let me know now, and we can deal with that. So,
whatever you want, man.
All right. Well, so we'll talk about the. Let's just say you have a debt collection lawsuit going on, and you're calling me for a consult. Is that fair?
Sounds good.
Super. All right. Well, excuse me. So, Chris, so it's good to talk to you. Tell me why you're calling today. What's the problem that you're facing?
Yeah, I got a letter from a credit card company that I had, I guess, not paid a bill, and it was not paid for a long time. And now they're coming after me in court. I really don't know what to do.
Okay, super. And roughly how much is the money they're seeking for you?
$17,000.
Okay. And is that something that you have on hand that you'd be able to pay, or is that something that's beyond your means right now?
It's beyond my means.
All right. And what does it mean if they were to go to court and get a judgment against you and possibly garnish a paycheck or seize assets? How would that affect you in your life?
That would really suck. I obviously, I'm rehabilitating my credit. I don't want a judgment to be on my credit report. And, it would be devastating. We're trying to get through this pandemic, my family, and, it's been tough as it is. And if there's somebody coming to try and take, what little amounts that we have available right now, it would really be kind of catastrophic.
Okay. And do you have some resources available that you'd be able to help settle that claim for some portion of what they're asking for?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah. What have you tried so far that hasn't worked for you?
In terms of trying to pay off the debt?
Right. Have you had conversations with them other than receiving letters? Have you had any communications with them that have not played out the way you'd hoped?
I had 2 conversations. They just kept hanging up on me.
Okay. And so as a matter of going forward, would it be fair to say that it's important to you to kind of put this all behind you if you can resolve it in a meaningful way?
Yes.
And as far as you said, rebuilding your credit, is that something that your credit report is something that's concerning to you for obtaining other loans or other financial opportunities, or is it important to your job? What does that mean to you?
Yeah, it's really important. I know, a credit score, it kind of makes or breaks you in the big bad world. And I want to make sure that mine doesn't take a nosedive because I've just, I'd completely forgotten about this debt. I didn't know I even, incurred it. All this stuff is interest. And, I don't know how I'm going to be able to repay it.
All right. And with respect to communicating with them, is it something that you may want help with? You want somebody to take the burden off of your shoulders and do a lot of the work in order to communicate with them in a way that is meaningful to hopefully get you the best result possible?
Yeah, that would be awesome. That's why I'm calling today.
Okay, super. Well, assuming that we can agree on a reasonable price for that, is that something you'd like me to take off your shoulders for you?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, great. Well then, what we'll do is we'll send you a contract then, and I've got your contact information, so we'll go ahead and do that. And as long as that meets your needs, then we'll go ahead and take that off your shoulders for you. Is that fair?
Sounds great. Thanks so much.
All right, super. I look forward to working with you.
You too.
Excellent, Mike. How'd that feel for you, Mike?
Pretty good. It's something I'm pretty comfortable doing. It's something I do commonly.
Awesome. Excellent. All right. So thank you for that. Let's drop in Kay. What 30 seconds of feedback? What could be optimized do you have for Mike?
All right. Hey, Mike.
Okay.
Good to see you.
How you doing?
Good, thanks. And masterful job. I thought it was wonderful. I can tell you've had some good training. The only things that I thought were great. How would this affect you? So you were creating a sense of urgency in him to act. I thought that was really good. What have you tried on your own? You're getting him to make up his own mind that he needs you because he's already tried and failed on his own. I felt like you were qualifying him as a buyer, so to speak, when you said, do you have money to pay? Like if I can help you. So you're also qualifying him for, does he have money to pay you? And then lastly, you asked for the order. You summed up by asking for the order. The only feedback I had is that you jumped right into the nuts and bolts. And I would have started off with, when he told you about his stressful situation, I'd suggest starting off with, I'm sorry, man, that must really be stressful for you. And I'm sorry. And let's talk and see if I can help you with this problem.
Yeah. Awesome job. Okay. And a score on a 1 to 10 scale?
9.8.
Ooh, big number from Kay. That's awesome. Gina, what do you got for Mike? Countdown 25 seconds.
Okay. Yeah. So I pretty much echo. I felt what Kay said. I felt you could have dug a little deeper with some more questions around what he was saying about the financial his financial, his issues and what was happening there. And I felt that, you know, there was good mirroring happening. And I honestly I'm going to be honest. I actually thought that I was, I apologize. So I thought I wasn't judging this round. So I paid a teeny tiny bit, just being honest and transparent. I would say though, honestly, from what I was hearing, I would give you a 9.2 also. I thought you guys did a really good job. So
thank you for your transparency, Gina, and excellent job, Mike, Kristen, Shiobhan. Who's next?
All right, next we will have Nancy and Robert as our contestants.
Excellent. All right, Nancy, would you like to go first or second? Random.
You're muted, Nancy.
I keep going first on things, and I'll just go ahead and roll with it. I'll go first.
Nancy's rolling. Boom. Robert's like, shoo. No, I'm kidding. So who would you like Chris to be, Nancy?
I would like Chris to be exactly who Chris is.
All right, 3 minutes. Please.
I love this.
Yes.
So, and a scenario would be, you know what? We're at a party.
I love it.
Go.
There you go. Hey, Chris, how's it going? I'm Nancy.
Hey, Nancy. Good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Doing fine. How do you end up in a place like this?
You know, I wish I had a better story, but I know that guy that's over there. I've been telling everybody else all night though that I just kind of stumbled upon this place and just trying to settle in.
Yeah, fair. You know, since there are only like 6 of us here, I have to ask, you know, how many of these have you been enjoying during the pandemic time, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean, I've I've had more Zoom parties than I've had in-person parties, that's for sure. But you know, this in-person one, I'm glad. I'm glad that we're able to meet in person.
Have you been missing it?
Yes, big time. Have you?
Yes, and it's been interesting the things that have happened with my own friend group and the way it's kind of expanding and changing in different ways.
Yeah.
How have you found that this has affected the way you're relating with your existing friendships or your network? Like, what's going on there for you?
Yeah, it's a good question. You know, I have some friends that are very keen on getting back out and interacting in a physical way, you know, being face to face with people. But I have some friends that, you know, prefer the computer screen to be the barrier. You know, I'm not one to shy away from a conversation, whether it's through the computer or in person, you know, and I just enjoy talking to people, honestly. So I haven't really noticed too much of a difference aside from, you know, I look better on a computer screen than I do in real life. So maybe that's, you know, a win for me.
I can't even imagine. So have you found any of your close friendships suffering at all for this?
Not really, honestly. Everybody, again, you know, I just enjoy talking to people. I will say I've had a few friends that have lost a little bit of touch with me. Just I think due to the fact that we can't see each other in person. They're not as comfortable maybe with, you know, taking time to sit in front of a computer or pick up the phone. You know, kind of resorted to text message. But, you know, there's a few of those for sure.
I mean, they say like I at one point spoke French, but you don't use it, you kind of lose it. And I think that goes a little bit for friendships and networking as well. And that's what I do. That's my specialty. And so I help people build and rebuild friendships and peer groups, meaningful friendships. And it's been really interesting during this time because people are beginning to come to me with rusty skills, basically. And it seems like you've got this down pat. Do you know anybody who seems to be isolating themselves a little bit more? Have you noticed that with anybody you know?
Yeah, my friend George, who went to law school with me, you know, he's really started to distance himself. You know, I'd actually love to connect you with him. And if you bring over ice cream, he'll be all over it. Just a tip.
Last 10 seconds.
I am running a challenge in November.
Okay.
Actually, it's just a free challenge, 5 days to really just bump up those networking and skills and friend making skills so that after all this is over, the people who go through the challenge will be able to really hit the ground running back into that networking scene, back into the party scene. You and I've got this down pat, but if you know anybody, definitely let's get together again sometime
Yeah.
and see if we can, make something of it.
I love that. And, I'll definitely reach out to George. I know, he's alluded to wanting to interact, or find a way to kind of get back to normal a little bit. And,
Sure.
I'll bring him the ice cream to start the conversation too. So I'll take on that burden. But if there's any help that you need, and aside from referrals, let me know.
Absolutely. I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Nancy, how'd that feel for you?
Felt fine. I enjoyed talking to Chris. He's interesting.
All right, awesome. Appreciate that. We'll bounce to the judges in a moment, but let's go. Robert, who would you like Chris to be?
Assuming that Chris is married, I'd like him just to be himself. All right, great. So Chris can be himself, and this environment is fine as well.
All right, take us away.
Okay. Hey, Chris. So I heard during your interview or your introduction that you are a business owner and also an immigrant and also had a baby. I think that's awesome, man. I think we probably have a lot in common too.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's been busy. We actually, my wife and I have 2 kids now.
2, awesome. Congratulations.
Even busier.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife is actually an immigration lawyer. So, she owns a law firm and we work with immigrants all day. So I think it's great that you start your family here and are doing great things.
Thank you.
Does your wife work with you, or is she a professional or a stay-at-home mom?
So she is a preschool teacher. She followed her passion right into preschool, and, I couldn't be more proud of her for it.
Wow. How do you guys, keep the relationship going with also running a business? I'm sure that the business takes a lot of your time. How do you balance the two?
Yeah, that's a good question. And, it took a lot of trial and error. And, it became something that I just had to be very intentional with regimenting, hard stopping a day to spend time with the family, and, making sure that is something that is not movable on my calendar. Was really the best way, because it helped me manage my time better while I'm actually, in the office or working. I mean, working from home, or, in the office. It helps me become more productive that way, for sure.
Yeah, I think that there's really 2 types of people in the world, especially business owners. There's business owners that just let their business rule everything. And then there's business owners that know how to manage their business while also growing their relationship too. And
yeah,
it sounds like you're in the later category.
I'm trying, man. I mean, it's, again, there's always trial and error and trying to grow the business. You get into uncharted waters, and sometimes you do have those thoughts creep in where you're like, I should probably stay for another hour, before heading home, just because I have to figure something out, or, implement a new system, whatever. So it's been tougher there to definitely keep that, hard stop on my calendar. But I'm trying.
Well, Chris, I'm not sure if it's for you, but I actually recently wrote a book called Alpha Couples Build a Powerful Marriage. And me and my wife have experienced that uncharted territory and those conflicts too. And in the book, I share our lessons and lessons from other stories like Barack and Michelle Obama and Sarah Blakely and Jesse Itzler. I think that I hope that you would love to read the book, and hopefully it would help you and your wife tremendously. Would you be interested in getting a copy of the book?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm always looking for ways to improve myself and improve my relationship with my wife and everybody I know. So yeah, I'd love to read that.
Awesome. Well, hey, what I'll do just to expedite it, I put a link to the book in the chat. If you want to go ahead and buy a copy of the book, it's $25, and I'll ship you off a book. It's great for you and your wife to read together. And I think it could really help relationships all around.
Awesome, man. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Robert, great job. Congratulations on the book.
Both of you guys.
Yeah. All right, all good. So excellent work. Let's take it to the judges and see what we have. So George, let's go. Let's go either start with Robert.
So, Robert, I thought your connection with him was really good and responsive. I love that you went into the family and were inquiring beyond what seemed like just him and taking that interest. So it was a good heart connection. I also think it's slick as hell that you had the link to your book right there. And I clicked on the link already, and the only incentive that you didn't toss at him was you absolutely were going to send him that autographed copy. So the value of your signature being part of it someday, we'd all love to have that. So I gave you a 9.2.
Awesome, George.
You want me to keep going?
Yeah, please.
Nancy, I thought it was interesting. There was a little bit of a lag at the beginning. You're just trying to feel out where to go with Chris, and he kind of put an unintentional hard stop on you, saying, "No, I'm cool. I don't have any friend problems, isolation problems." Damn you, Chris! But thanks for bringing me into it. I need ice cream, and I'm very, very lonely. So I thought that when you pivoted to do you have any friends that are struggling and can I help them? Your last 45 seconds were super strong. I thought the first minute and a half, there was a little bit of a wandering through the wilderness, but you got there at the end with a really tight push as to call to action in the event coming up in November that you could get people involved in. So I gave you an 8.9.
Awesome job, George. Kay, what did you have for Nancy?
All right, Nancy, great job. Great job of following up with open-ended questions, I thought, to get Chris talking. Great and smooth job of introducing what you do. Great job of asking for the referral. And I like the way that not just asking for a referral, but that you ended with an offer. You made an offer. And my note about Nancy was, I didn't even know she was selling me anything because she just seemed like such a nice person that I thought maybe she was just trying to be my friend, but she sold me something in the process. And for Robert and Chris, the thing that I liked, Robert, that you did was the empathy thing. My wife and I'm like you. My wife and I have shared the same struggles. And, that differentiated you from every other married person that's on this call who's had probably their own relationship struggles. What qualifies you to be the expert on that? I can empathize with you. I'm the same as you. I've shared the same struggles. And then closing with, here's the link. I'm not going to rely on you to remember. Do it right now. Here's the link. Loved it.
Excellent. And scores, Kay?
9.5 for Robert and 9.5 for Nancy.
Awesome. And quick check-in, Shiobhan, trends, patterns, what are you seeing so far across the board with our first 4 awesome participants?
Everybody's doing an amazing job, and I really appreciate you all being here as well. What I've seen kind of across the board, Sean, is where we talk about, we talk about conversations of being head to head versus head to heart. And I'm seeing a lot of the head to head conversations. Everybody's having those surface conversations of staying in their head and not necessarily going into the heart to really get to that emotional rapport and that connection and that heartfelt connection with each other. So going a little bit deeper and getting into their why and why they want to do these things. Why is Chris's family so important in building his business, or for, why is the friendship so important to them, and moving that further along would send them to definitely 9.999s in their conversation and getting to the heart.
Awesome, Shiobhan. Nancy, could I ask you a quick question?
Yes.
Okay. So can we drop in, and can I be you and you be Chris for a minute? Would that be okay?
Sure.
Okay. So, hey, Chris, this is like a kind of interesting, odd event. Did you know what you're stepping into when you got into this Zoom today?
Oh, no, not at all.
Okay. And what'd you think?
So far, it has been really interesting. Some interesting people for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. And, so thanks so much for the role play. I really appreciate it. But can I ask this question? You had mentioned, that your ability to create relationships is like strong and amazing, which I have no doubt that it is, but I believe like in the exponentiality that acceleration multiplies when people are great at something and they like lean into like these tiny little shifts. And so before we get to that though, can I say it's like, what's the ultimate vision? You're building your firm. You're clearly like making things happen. I know, Shiobhan, what's it all about for you though? Like, where's this all going?
Are we role playing or are you talking to me?
You're Chris.
Sorry. I see this as an avenue for me to really change lives. I've been in this game for a while, and once I got a taste of the real impact that I could have and felt like I'd gotten some experience under my belt that allowed me to do it more effectively, more efficiently, almost elegantly, it made me want to do more of it. And I do want to scale and I want to reach more people. So having the ability to connect matters to me on that level.
And clear that you're crushing it. Awesome job. What challenges, if any, though, this building, scaling, acceleration, what challenges, if any, are you having, Chris?
I would probably say overextending myself. I try to do too much sometimes. And what that does is it puts too many moving pieces right in the foreground. I'll end up with more than one thing on the priority spot. And for me, it is a matter of not letting my heart get ahead of my head, to be honest, because I want to do so much. I do want to spread, and I'll spread myself too thin if I'm not careful.
Yeah. Well, I know we only have about a minute to go, and I hear that. I hear your love, your passion, your heart-centeredness, your connectivity with your family and your mission. It's super impressive. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Sure.
And in that last few seconds though, is it okay if I share just a little bit about what I'm up to in the world? Because I don't know when I was on the Real Raw if like it fully came across. Would that be okay?
Sure.
Yeah. So when I hear you share your desire to scale, to me, what scaling is about is relationship. And it's about relationship in two different ways. First, it's about relationship from the perspective of creating new opportunities in business by you adding massive value to other people, which I'm sure that you do, but with like hyper intentionality and specificity, because once you control the ability to generate business, then it's the second piece of your relationship creation that matters, which is your ability to create scale and have people see their future in you and your leadership. So like, I have no idea if that's what fully came across in the Real Raw, but that's been the passion of my life, and the reason that I do what I do is I love people. And I think that we have a lot of challenges and stress and craziness in the world because we get so busy, we get locked up on our head, we forget each other, we don't see each other. And like Oprah Winfrey said, that the reason that she had 30,000 people that she held the microphone for was because she said, I see you, I hear you, and what you say matters to me. So the work that I stand for is how those micro distinctions can come into play to create exponential acceleration. So yeah, like how does that resonate for you? And no pressure whatsoever, but would that be something you'd like to spend like half an hour talking about?
Sure.
Okay, pause. Nancy, is that who you are?
That felt good, definitely. Yeah, I'd almost like to go back and review it, but yes, that felt good. That felt congruent.
Okay. And is that the work that you're doing in the world though? I know it's not your words, but is that the work you're doing and helping people see the power of relationship and deeper connection?
Yes. And I want to go deeper than the network. I've been teaching networking. I know how to teach networking, but this is about friendship. And as a people, we are actually losing our ability to make friends.
Yeah. So is that what you heard me sharing as who you are?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. So what was different from that?
Just the words mainly.
Yeah. Okay.
Wouldn't have been my word choice, but good still,
Yeah. Love friends. But what I wanted to open up access for, right, was more aspirational energy.
Right.
Like going somewhere, right? The feeling of that energetic exchange, number one. And number two, every single person you're going to speak to, Nancy, is going to need you, like everyone, because every single person has small distinctions they can add that you can. And so your effective rapport filled, bringing them to that reality is only going to accelerate your gifts being received in the world. So that was my gift to you. I hope it made some sense.
Thank you. Yes, it did. Definitely. Definitely.
All right. Awesome job. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So Shiobhan, makes sense or no?
Yes, made sense. And Nancy is an amazing, amazing lady. And she and I have connected on multiple levels. And so she is doing amazing things in this world and bringing that to people through her podcast and called Friends on Hand. That's amazing.
Yeah. Can I tell you what so this is like where, welcome to the Real Raw. So the energy we're leaning into is the energy of access to growth. And that's like what's present here in love and acceleration. And so the purpose of this is, yes, for people to connect, but it's also for us to learn micro distinctions. And let me just share this for a quick nanosecond. So I have the largest jury verdict in the last decade in Arizona. And in that case, it's a $27 million verdict. And we were offered zero going to trial in a business breakup case. And in that case, the judge had court rules that said there's no emotion in my courtroom, none. And he's, in my opinion, the greatest federal district court judge in this country. Unbelievable. And at the end of the case, when the verdict was about to be read, and the foreperson, his courtroom normally reads it, he got the verdict, he flipped through it, he looked up, looked over at the defendant and said, I think I'm going to read this one. And what he was saying is that I'm not biased, I am just and I am clear, but you felt his heart that he was pleased and emotionally engaged that justice had been done. And so for every one of us, there's an access to more. And I'll add this final piece. If you're in the top 1% in income in the US, you make $400,000. The top 0.1%, you make 1.7 million. The top 0.01%, you make 7.8 million, 0.001, 56 million. It is in the space of micro distinction. Once you become great at something and phenomenal at something, that the exponential returns begin. Because if you're in the 50th percentile, you make about 50 grand, the 90th percentile, about 100 grand. And I think we could all agree that doesn't make a big difference in your lifestyle in the US. It's at the highest levels of micro distinction that those shifts and that flow comes. And it is through the subjugation of our ego, the openness to learning and growth. Like we're on the athletic field, like we're in a show, right? That's the unleashing of that next level breakthrough for us in our money, our time, and our magic. So thank you for that space. And it was in love and acceleration. And that's what we're here to all collectively do. So great job, everybody. Shiobhan, who's next?
So next we'll have Julie and Lisa.
All right. Julie, how are you?
Good.
Right.
Nervous.
Okay. And why would you, and ready? Why would you be nervous?
I've definitely never done this before.
Okay. So, right. And this is a huge, like, this is what we do it for. So all we're doing is going from hello to yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I would presume that every single day in your work, you go from hello to yes. And that how well you do that and where you choose to invest that has an extraordinary impact on your money, your time freedom, and the magic and contribution impact that you're experiencing, wherever those levels are. If they're at the highest level, you know, that you'd want, you're at a 9.9 or a 9 or an 8, that this is happening every single day for all of us. And somehow, oddly, we don't learn about this and the micro distinctions in science of how people make decisions about us in nanoseconds and how they decide whether or not they want to work with us, how people feel comfortable or not, when we should make people feel uncomfortable and when we shouldn't, all those micro distinctions. So yeah, is it fair to say that you go from hello to yes or not from hello to yes every single day throughout your entire day?
Probably. Yeah, I just never thought of it exactly that way until I watched the thing preparing for this.
Yeah. And what we're here to do for everybody is we're here to realize that our comfort, our mastery in that space is the unlocking of things and the impact. So yeah, it's all good. It's all fun. And And there is no fear of rejection. There is no fear of failure, except ones that we make up in our heart and mind, because rejection and failure don't even exist. Is that a fair enough possibility? I know you can't believe that yet, but can you hold space for that possibility?
Yes, I yes.
All right. So let's have some fun. Like, right? Let's have some fun. And who would you like Chris to be?
Chris can be himself. That because you're a business owner, so that's fine. And we're just meeting at any kind of a networking thing where we're here. And so hi Chris, how are you?
I am good. How are you?
Good. So what do you do?
Yeah, I'm an owner of a law firm.
Okay, well, if you say that, then I need to know what kind of law.
For sure. No, so my firm does business intellectual property, and I actually just brought on somebody to do estate planning and asset protection too.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So as a business attorney, do you ever have business owners who come in and they're like upset about things, like how things are going with business? Because I feel like I'm getting calls from people that are, especially I work as a bookkeeper. So a lot of people with the PPP and the SBA loans. So I was getting a lot of calls about that kind of stuff. So it's just such tumultuous time.
Yeah.
Did you find that you're seeing that, but from the, like the contract angle or whatever?
Yeah, no, I think it's just there's a lot of uncertainty right now for a lot of business owners. For a lot of business owners, this is their way of life. This is what puts food on the table, keeps a roof over their families' heads, right? And they want to make sure that everything's on the up and up. And it's definitely a trying time. I think the PPP programs and whatnot are good for them, but there's definitely questions and concerns that they come to me quite a bit for. Yeah.
Yeah, and everything's changing all the time.
Yes, you're not kidding.
Yeah, but I mean that was my concern there. There's so many entrepreneurs. This is their livelihood, and for some people, it's going away. I mean, for some people, it's helping because they're able to either pivot or their industry happens to be really needed.
Yeah.
But my heart always goes out to people. This is their family. This is and working with them. That I know that's such a huge stress.
Yeah.
And whether or not they can continue going, whether or not they can be profitable is a big concern.
Yeah.
So yeah. Because one of the reasons that I do what I do is I love entrepreneurs. I feel like entrepreneurs we're the ones that are going to change the world. And we're the ones that can because you can get to know the owner. It's like a person, not necessarily a corporate non-known.
Right. No, I agree with you. Yeah. I think, it's the reason I represent business owners and entrepreneurs is because one, they're living out their own legacy or their own, dream, but they're also creating dreams for other people. People that may need a job. I mean, I was jumping for joy just a few months ago when somebody was accepted for a job at Wendy's when I just took my kids to, get Frosties. And having the ability, to represent people that give people the opportunity to really make an impact on other people's lives. That's why I do what I do, and in this time right now with how trying it is, it's not just the business owners that are impacted, it's the people that they, have working for them or with them. And it's very, and when you talk about, the accounting and the numbers, I mean, the numbers are really what is making or breaking the business. So, I can only imagine the type of stress or the types of questions that you get from business owners on a daily basis, just because of that uncertainty,
Oh yeah, I do. And that's one of the things for me. I run into so many business owners that keeping track of the numbers and knowing what to do with that information is like, they don't get it at all.
Yeah.
And it's easy for me. So that's, and I love to take that stumbling block out of the way.
Yeah.
And I really love helping people to see how to be profitable, to grow those profits, and even taking some people from the idea that profits are a good thing. Because some of my clients, like, they never had to pay taxes. Suddenly they have taxes. And they didn't want a profit. I'm like, no, that's a healthy business. Profit is a healthy business. So just, enlightening people about that.
Less 10 seconds.
Have you ever heard the book Profit First?
Yes. Yes.
So I help people with the Profit First system.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's something, if you want more information, if you want to, I can get your email and I can send you information about it, about some of the stuff that I'm doing and how I help businesses in case some of your clients could use that.
That'd be fantastic. I'd love that.
Thanks. Great.
Excellent stuff. Chris, how'd that feel for you?
That was great. I mean, I thought there was connection there for sure. I could definitely see where Julie was going with everything to try and create that connection between us, and our just, both of us share that passion for helping remove the roadblocks for entrepreneurs, right? And we just come at it from different, I guess, entry ramps. And I loved the connection that we were, I guess the connection that we were forging together. I thought it was awesome.
Awesome. Gina, what do you have for Julie?
Hey, Julie. Thanks, Sean. And thanks, Julie, first of all, for being vulnerable and saying how you felt in your nervousness and sharing that. I think, and going ahead with it anyway. I thought you did a great job considering being nervous and because it's a little, you just don't know what you're in for. So you did a great job. And I thought you did a great job of sharing who you are and what you do in the world. I definitely saw you guys had a good energetic transference. What I would have done a little differently is maybe ask more questions of knowing a little more deeply about Chris, just asking more open-ended questions. And I felt like at the end, at the agreement formation, just, I know you only had 10 seconds, but I felt maybe you could have just said, hey, well, would it be okay if I sent you and, connected with you a little bit later to, send you the book. If you're interested, are you interested in this book or are you interested in talking more about the book? I'm sorry, talking more about the book, right? And I would have maybe just done that and then just ended it there and gone on to connect later. So I gave you an 8.7.
Excellent job, Gina. George, what'd you have for Julie?
Julie, just kudos. I did this for the first time 2 weeks ago, and I feel the first time you jump into the pool, you have no idea if it's shark infested waters down below or if there's even water. So you did just fine. Your nervousness showed in the first 30 seconds, but Chris helped because as soon as he was talking about estate planning, you knew you had a common client structure. Basically, you both would be seeing people from the same thing, just from a different angle. And that gave you something to hold on to and connect. And that brought the conversation closer together. The last 10 seconds also threw you off just because you got a 10-second holy shit. And from that, instead of like you just thrust the book at him, it was like you just shoved it in his face and said, here, take this, please take the book. Instead of, if you had another minute, like normal world people would have, you probably could have figured out a collaborative effort so you guys would have a follow-up coffee and talk about how you could help clients together and present blah, 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 instead of please read my book, because Chris has plenty of time to read, I promise you. So I gave you an 8.5, but climbing. You're on your way.
And Sean, could I chime in just super quick? So I definitely was anticipating that conversation going towards that sort of, ecosystem merger as well, an opportunity for us to both, jointly help these people. So I thought you did a great job. And Julie, I mean, I'll echo George. I did this, for the first time as a contestant a few weeks ago, and, I was nervous too. And I thought you did an amazing job.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And Shiobhan, any thoughts?
I will just echo Julie. You are amazing, and Profit First itself is amazing, and creating that ecosystem merger with somebody like Chris, who does estate planning and business and works with business folks, would have been definitely the way I would have taken that. And I will just echo Gina, getting more to know about Chris and about what his passion is, and getting into the heart of Chris. Like I said before, getting more to the heart-to-heart conversation instead of in the head-to-head business conversation, and you would have nailed it. So.
Excellent. And Shiobhan, who's up next?
Lisa.
All right, Lisa, you ready to rock and roll?
Lisa, you're muted.
Lisa, you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
So I work with predominantly women who struggle with their weight like their whole entire life, right? And they're just like, they have like a lack of self-confidence. They fear failure. And I don't know if Chris could be like a 50 to 60-year-old woman who's struggled with weight her whole life and knows what that feels like, you know.
Chris can be anybody. So
I can be whoever you want me to be.
Whatever you want.
Okay.
All right,
So
it's in.
you got the picture. So basically, maybe it would be like you're calling me, like kind of like with I think it was Mike, where you know you have a problem, you want to lose weight, you don't know how, so you're calling me to see if I'm the person who could help, you know, lead you to your transformation.
Okay.
Take us in.
So okay, so hey Chris, so how
Hi,
are
Lisa.
you? So what's going on with you right now that got you to schedule this call with me today?
Yeah, I wanted to reach out. I saw some of your stuff online and was really just kind of interested in learning a little bit more about your programs. I'm just in that, I guess, I don't know, mindset at this point of really wanting to just get my health and wellness finally on track. I've, you know, yo-yoed with diets and everything for the past 20 years, and it's time that that I change that.
Okay, so Chris, could you tell me a little bit about, so you said for the past 20 years, can I ask how old you are right now?
I'm 55.
You're 55, okay. So about in your 30s, was weight something that you struggled with starting at that point when you were in your 30s? Was it something that you struggled with as a child? Was it, you know, a life thing, or did something happen in your life? Sometimes we have events that happen in our lives that cause us to, you know, for some women, it's they get pregnant and they start a family, or something happens. What is it for you?
I think, you know, once I stopped playing college sports, that was really when I started to, I guess, look for the life hacks. I was always on a regimen when I was younger and playing college sports, and we were exercising every day and we were on diets and everything, and it was in pretty good shape. But then after leaving college, that's really when it started, because, you know, again, I was just trying to find those quick fixes and none of them really worked for me. And it, you know, it was, or if it did work, it would work temporarily, and I would just start hating myself because I didn't like just eating salad for, you know, every single meal and feeling starving at the end of the day. I was getting angry, you know, or hangry, I think is the word that the kids use nowadays. So yeah, I mean, it started right after college.
Okay, and so can you tell me a little bit about you know, what was like your relationship with food in your, in, you know, in, were you using it, do you find yourself eating because of stress? Was it something, you know, social? Was it very social? Because oftentimes people use food for things other than being hungry, right? And oftentimes it's, you know, whether it's, you know, to procrastinate, to entertain themselves. Some people are lonely. Some people, you know, just they eat because of how they're feeling versus of being hungry. Can you share with me a little bit about what that is for you?
Yeah, I think it was more stress related for me, just because I knew I wasn't on that regimen anymore. So I was frustrated, and just trying to figure out the quickest solution for myself. I think, you know, and just ended up ultimately, you know, spiraling into just a real love for ice cream. Honestly, I have a friend, George, that actually, you know, showed me this great brand, Graters, and I loved it. And, you know, it was tough to let go of that. And that, I think, added to my stress, right? So maybe it was stress eating.
So Chris, if I could show you how to, you know, change that relationship with food so you don't use ice cream to deal with your feelings, would you be interested in finding out more?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Awesome job, Lisa. How'd that feel for you?
Well, I was a little nervous, but I was just kind of trying to like lead him into and find out more about like what his real struggle is with food, because for everybody it's a little bit different. But you know, I was just trying to find out more about what his story is, so I could share with him what I do and how I can help him.
And Lisa, that's rooted in your love for people. Is that fair? That you love and care about people, and you want to lessen their suffering around food. Is that fair?
Well, yeah, it's fair. I mean, I just know that, you know, people who struggle with this, it's really like such a cause of pain. They have such low self-esteem, they have low self-worth, and I know it's something that's changeable.
You want to, you want to change it so they don't suffer.
Right.
Right. Okay. So do you think in it that you were communicating more head to head or heart to heart?
Well, probably in this instance, since I'm not like, you know, I'm not a good role player typically, it was probably more head to head than heart to heart.
Got it. Okay. So quick thought.
I was probably more in my head about thinking than, you know, how it sometimes rolls out.
Awesome. So just a thought for everybody really quickly. A mechanism to get out of our own head and into our body, right, is physical engagement. So, you know, the great influencers and speakers, Martin Luther King, Tony Robbins, Barack Obama, Oprah Winfrey, Ellen DeGeneres, go down your list of people that have tremendous influence over people. They have 4 different energies, right? Which we're not going to drop into, but all those energies flow out of them being in their body. There's movement. 55% of our communications are body, 38% is our vocal qualities, pitch, tone, speed, shifting, energy, volume up and down, all of it. 7% are our words. And if we're to evaluate the communication, right, that most of us encounter in a professional setting, a lot of us are attorneys in a courtroom, in a business dynamic, in a negotiation, pattern interrupts, like being in our body, communicating differently, create opening of listening. So we don't sound like Charlie Brown's teacher, wah, 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 wah. So entering our body through breathing, not just breathing, no, movement, like physically being in our body, like rhythm, movement, vocal quality alignment, congruence of our words, our vocal qualities, and our body language equal emotional energetic transference. And that's for everybody across the board. And it's super normal to do that when we're feeling a bit uncertain. We're in a new environment like this, but we're in new environments every single day in every single way. And our conditioning to be in our body and aligning our vocal quality, changing speeds of speaking, shifting in and out, speaking into what's present, like not avoiding like discomfort, like speaking into what's present equals acceleration. So hopefully that was a little bit helpful.
Yeah. Well, I will share with you that when I do these calls with potential clients, I am walking around my whole apartment. I am moving. I mean, very infrequently do I stay seated at my desk when I have these conversations. I'm always kind of doing that myself.
Yeah, awesome, excellent. Okay, so Kay, what do you have for Lisa?
Make sure I'm not muted. Yeah, the main thing that I thought of is that you jumped right into the questions of, you know, qualifying the buyer or whatever. And, you know, weight, a lot of things are personal, but boy, weight loss is really a deeply personal thing. And I wondered, and I don't know this to be the case, but I wondered if you could have begun with a little bit more empathy, or if you had your own story to share to say, believe me, I know. This is why I got into the business myself, is because I've struggled with it, you know, because a lot of people think, like with trainers or whatever, like, well, they don't know my struggles because look at them, they're a perfect size 2 and they're totally fit. So that's the only thing that I would add is try to qualify yourself maybe less on your credentials and more on, hey, look, I'm no different from you. I've struggled and I continue to struggle myself. And I've helped thousands of people just exactly like you.
Okay, awesome job. In score?
9.2.
Excellent. Gina, what'd you have for Lisa?
Gina had to jump off Sean to get ready for the 3 o'clock show.
Oh, very good. Okay, George, yeah.
I'll play the part of Gina today. If Chris can be a 50-year-old woman, I can be let's call her a 28, right? 28, it's recording. So I wrote it in the chat because I didn't think I would be making comments, but what I really wish I had heard, Lisa, from you was the why, as to the passion behind why you do what you do. I know that a lot of health coaches, as they get into this, it's not all about the money. It's about something that was in their lives or their family's lives, their parents' lives, that got them into it. And that connection thrown out to Chris would have helped with the identification and reinforcement. It felt technical and clinical. And that's the conversation going on in the chat is perfect for that. We're doing a lot of head-to-head. First time doing this in 3 minutes, it's really hard to get into that connection and heart-to-heart. With practice, you'll get there. So I gave you an 8.4.
Nice job, George. Excellent job, Lisa. Yeah, Shiobhan, who do we have next, and anything you want to add?
Nothing I want to add. I think everybody covered it. And I think the only person left to go is Harish, but Chris had to run off to grab a computer charger. He's coming back now. And all right, he's back. So Harish is the only one we have left.
All right, Harish, who would you like Chris to be?
Chris, you've played so many roles.
I know.
You know, let's keep you as so you know, my ideal audience is someone who runs talent acquisition for a Fortune 1000 company. So you're Chris in a large company running talent acquisition primarily for the shared services business. So legal is part of it, but finance and accounting, HRO, legal, and all those kind of roles, right?
Right.
And I got you through a call and connect.
Okay.
All right, take us in, Harish.
Thanks. Hey, Chris, so nice to be able to chat with you. I've been wanting to meet you for a pretty long time. How have you been?
I'm good, Harish. How are you? And it's great to connect with you.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's so kind of Tom to make this introduction. I did a quick search on LinkedIn and I see we have 52 common names. It's taken me 52 opportunities to get you, but you are a busy man with over 1,000 people that you manage.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, no day is the same when I walk into the office. I mean, pulled in 75,000 different directions.
I know exactly what you do because I work with so many of your peers out there, and getting 3 minutes is like a lot of time.
Yeah,
So,
no, and I'm glad.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you once again. Right, so talent finding is really all I've been doing for the last 8-9 years. I've really enjoyed it, and I hope that with this conversation, I can make a little proposition of what I might be able to solve at your end.
Sounds great.
But if I could start, Chris, COVID has made a bunch of changes to talent acquisition. So just curious, how has it impacted your specific organization?
Yeah, I mean, we've had to go obviously virtual across the board, which has been complicated. I'm a big believer in a personal interaction and really being able to see the mannerisms or the nonverbals surrounding individuals when they come in to meet with me. It's been tougher to really understand, just really, I think it's rooted in the integrity of the individual. So, we're definitely having a tough time figuring out whether somebody is the right fit for us because of that virtual kind of barrier.
Yes, I understand. And so there must be a lot of training that you must be imparting as well. But I see all your other peer companies doing exactly that. Training has really taken off in every organization.
Yes, it really has. And we're kind of slow to catch up, I think. But don't tell my boss that.
So here's something I've been noticing as I talk to some of your peers. Right? Fundamentally, all of the large firms in the US have moved a lot of work offshore, and for good reason. But COVID has changed that and its perception of outsourcing, because you can't afford to have these core processes of yours somewhere elsewhere, right? BCP was designed so that someone is up all the time, but what do you do when the whole world is shut down?
Right.
And so I hear so I hear a lot of people saying that they want to find a solution to find work back or bring the processes back. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, absolutely. And we've been trying to find a way.
Fantastic. So let me share a little background quickly. And I know you've seen my email from the past, but I ran a $100 million business for a company called Wipro Technologies. And that's exactly what I did. I helped what is called reverse migration. So I come from this space, and that coupled with executive search is really what has brought me to the space. Okay. I know you use Korn Ferry, for example. How has that been working out for you?
Harish, last 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been great. A little bit of a learning curve, but it's been pretty good.
Awesome. So Chris, I know we've got just a few seconds left. So if I could bring up a proposition that I used with Tom, the guy who introduced us. It's very simple. I don't want to complicate things here. I'm sure we'll have time to meet up again. But my services and the services of executive search typically cost you between $30,000 and $50,000 per placement. I'm sure you agree there. I do it for $10,000 for the first time. And I do it in such a way that at the end of the process, once you can see why we are different from the conferees that you use, at that point, based on a feedback loop by your talent hiring personnel, you can then decide if you want to have a contract or not. would you be interested in a quick one-off pilot process with me?
I think that's definitely worth something. I think we should have another conversation to see how we can onboard that. I think it'd be a great opportunity for us.
Awesome. Thank you.
Harish,
Thank
awesome
you.
job. Yeah, great job, Harish. How did that feel for you, Harish?
I felt good. 3 minutes, I didn't realize it's so short, but